What's up, Define Nation, and welcome to another episode of Define Your Health with Danielle Girdano, strength through knowledge. And I am so excited about today's show today because we're going to get a little geek, but it's going to be geek with some very tangible takeaways that you can start applying to your everyday life. And I'm always excited whenever people are empowered through knowledge. Our guest today is Dr. Micheal Sims from Dallas, Texas. I'm so happy that you were able to join us here in studio today. And Dr. Sims is really he's the pinnacle of excellence when you're talking about the central nervous system. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. What in the world is it? I mean, maybe the first thing that people think of is their spine. And their spine is a part of it, but the brain is also a part of it. The brain stem, things like the cerebellum. How do these things all work together? More importantly, how do these things function together with our organs and our nerve system? Everyday problems that can be solved by making sure that this is being taken care of. So, Micheal, thank you so much for coming. And Define Nation, when I say he's the pinnacle of excellence, he absolutely is. He's been practicing for 6 years. He is board certified through the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners and also the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. And he was just named a 2015 winner for the Open Care Patient's Choice Award, which speaks to his bedside manner or tableside manner, I guess I should say. So, Micheal, without further ado, give us a brief overview. Central nervous system. When somebody says, what is the central nervous system, what's the first thing you think of?
I'd have to say the first thing I think of, it's the master system of the body. It is essentially the mainframe, the computer that runs your entire body is what your central nervous system is. That's obviously the brain and the spinal cord involved together.
And I think making that correlation that these are two primary things that function together simultaneously. And there's, how many vertebrae are actually in the spine, and how exactly are the brain and the spine connected? What is that relationship, and what does that look like?
Well, the way that if you think about it like this, think about the brain as the computer for the body, the main hard drive, and the spinal cord is simply a highway that all the information travels down. But the one running the show, telling the entire body what to do, no matter what part of the body it happens to be, is actually the brain itself. And so while the spinal cord is extremely important, it's the brain that's running the show, basically. The spinal cord is the highway. It's where all the information travels through. And there's a heck of a lot of nerves that run in between these. Do you have any idea of how many nerves? I mean, hundreds of thousands, I imagine. Millions. There we go. Yeah, there's an infinite number of nerve connections. They might have counted.
And how many vertebrae are actually in the spine?
There are 25 vertebrae in the human spine. I should say 25 movable vertebrae. Okay. The sacrum is also comprised of vertebrae, but they're fused and they don't move.
And the spinal cord is wrapped within these vertebrae, correct?
Yes. So the spinal cord runs down a canal in the middle of these vertebrae or bones. The purpose of the vertebra is essentially to protect the spinal cord. The way the body does things, if it's important, it puts a lot of bones around it.
I like that. It brings out the big bodies, the bouncers, as you would say.
That's right.
Of the human body.
The heavy defense.
Hey, you know what? I'm a Steelers fan. I like defense. This is good.
That's the way it works.
Which, by the way, Define Nation, Dr. Sims is a Steeler fan too, because I know you guys know that I'm a Steelers fan, so I just had to throw that in there. So, real briefly, can you kind of explain whenever there's a signal that's sent from the brain? Hey, I want to move my arm. I want to get up and walk across the room. Can you kind of go through how does the brain send that signal through the spinal cord into the nerves, and how does that whole central nervous system work together?
So essentially anything that you ever want to do starts in the brain. The signals either to or from will travel down the spinal cord, and then the vertebrae all have holes where the nerves come out of and travel to the various parts of the body wherever it happens to go. So, for instance, if I wanted to open and close my hand, the brain's going to send a signal down the nerves The nerves attached to the muscles, telling the muscles to contract, to either open or close my hand, whatever it is that I'm thinking that I want to have done. It works like that for something as simple as opening and closing your hand, but it also works for any kind of reactions that happen throughout the body. The brain is controlling it all, again, through the nervous system and through the nerves. So it controls how fast your heart beats. It controls how high your blood pressure is or how low your blood pressure would be. It controls the way that your kidneys or your different organs function. And all this control is orchestrated in the brain, and it simply sends the signal throughout the rest of the nerves via the spinal cord.
Well, and that's a great segue, Michael, because as soon as we come back from break to Define Nation, we're going to specifically talk about how in the world do your organs get these messages? Why is it so important? And how can these organs actually heal? And how can the body heal? Simply by taking care of that central nervous system. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with our guest, Dr. Micheal Sims.
Considering a career change? The Cooper Institute offers education, training, and job opportunities to fitness lovers like you every month. Visit our website, cooperinstitute.org, or call 972-341-3200 today. cooperinstitute.org or 972-341-3200.
Hello, I'm Marie Lascaritas, founder and president of the Alzheimer's Cure Foundation. Our mission and vision is to dramatically accelerate the cure for this devastating disease by raising and awarding a $20 million cash prize that will serve as the gold medal for the scientists or team of scientists who discover the cure. We need everyone's help. We need all donations, big and small. Our website is www.alz, as in zebra, C as in Charlie, URE.org. You can donate to our website. You can also call me at area code 401-473-7019. We need your help. All donations, big and small.
And we're back, Define Nation, with our guest today, Dr. Micheal Sims, a 2015 Open Care Patient's Choice award-winning doctor. And we're going to really get into a little bit of organ function here now, because it's fascinating to me the way that the body heals itself. It's fascinating to me that if you just give the body the right tools, the body can, it's a magnificent machine. And I think you and I are in the same mindset whenever
Absolutely.
we talk about that. And one of the most fascinating things, in my opinion, is infertility, and how making sure that the central nervous system, if it's taken care of properly, can help a woman with infertility. And that's just amazing to me when there's so many pharmaceuticals, and I'm very anti-pharmaceutical, as you know, but how it can naturally be healed and happen. So can you walk through, because pregnancy and post-pregnancy is a program that we have at Define, and I think we have a lot of listeners that would be interested in that. So can you kind of walk through, you have an infertility case that walks through the door. How do you handle that? What does that look like?
Gotcha. Well, to be honest, a lot of people don't even walk in the office for infertility to begin with. It's because they have other type of issues that they can relate easily to chiropractic, say back pain or sciatic or different things like that. And unfortunately, more often than not, I found out later in the process that, we're suffering with this, by the way, too. We didn't even know that was something you can help with. But when they do walk in the office and they are suffering with infertility issues, the first thing we'll do is take a picture of the low back and see how the bones are aligned, see if there's interference with the nerves. And then once we figure that out, it's simply adjust it and remove the pressure off the nerves. Now, as far as what the body is going to do after that, the body needs to start generating healthy cells. Because we have DNA in all of our cells. The DNA is basically the blueprints for the architect to read to see how to build the cells, to see how to build the organs and everything else. The only one in the body that can read these blueprints is the brain. And so if the brain can't properly communicate with the cells and with the body in order to make strong, healthy cells according to the blueprints that are the designs for the body, then sick cells will be made. Or improper cells, let's say that, in some way, shape, or form. And so through the adjustments, it frees up the nerves so that the body can start producing strong and healthy cells. Now, more often than not, that's what we find. And so, a lot of times they'll have other symptoms along with it. They'll have low back pain. They might have sciatica. They might have constipation. They might have a wide range of different things associated in the lower area there, because those nerves don't only go to the reproductive organs, but they go around throughout to different spots.
Well, and I think it's fascinating, too, when you talk about cell reproduction. I think most people don't realize how many millions and billions of cells reproduce in the body every day, every week, every month, that you truly are what you put into your body and how you take care of it. You truly are. The old adage, you are what you eat. Well, you are what you eat, you are what you drink, you are how you take care of your body. Stress has a lot to do with it too, but I think that's a very valid point to make, and just to remind people of how important that you're regenerating constantly. But I digress. Go ahead.
Well, no, and I absolutely agree. And the easiest example that anyone can relate to is hair. You're constantly losing hair, but you're not going bald. Or, well, some people may be.
Raul's sticking his tongue out at you over there.
But, we're constantly losing hair, and your body's constantly reproducing new hair cells, and you're growing more hair. And so that's a simple one for everyone to grasp, but every single cell in the body dies. It's just nature. Things die. And so if you're going to stay alive, the cells need to be reproduced. Now, depending on where in the body it is, what kind of cell it has a certain lifespan. For instance, a blood cell has a lifespan of 120 days. So every 120 days, well, every single day, but after 120 days, the cell dies, and the body needs to make a new one to replace that cell. That being said, we make hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of new blood cells every day, because there's a lot of blood cells in there. So the same thing works with any kind of organ or anything in the body. We're constantly losing cells and reproducing new ones. And so as long as the brain can properly talk to the body so that we can produce healthy cells. Now, obviously, diet and nutrition is an extremely large part of that as well, so that we have the building blocks to build the healthy cells. Doesn't matter how well you can read the blueprints. If you don't have good materials to build the cells out of, you're still going to have sick cells. But that being said, as we start to lose the cells, as long as the brain can properly communicate with the body, we can produce healthy cells. Because everyone has the ability to be healthy as long as they put their body in the proper situation to be healthy.
And that is an excellent point. We have to cut away to break, so stick with that thought, Michael. Define Nation, we will be right back after we check in with Chef Vivian James.
Hi, this is Vivian James with the Cooking Corner. So what is yellow, flaky? It's cheesy and nutty in flavor and loaded with B complex vitamins. I'm talking about nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is a bioavailable source of protein and contains all 18 amino acids. Nutritional yeast does not contain dairy, soy, gluten or sugar, nor any animal products. Vitamin B is essential to help balance our bodies and help convert our foods into energy. It helps us in nervousness, fatigue, trembling, loss of appetite, PMS and mood changes, and irritability. B vitamins can also improve our skin, nails, and hair, and improve memory. Nutritional yeast is not the same as our baking yeast or brewer's yeast. Good quality nutritional yeast is made from a single cell organism of fungi. In a controlled environment, it is cultured and grown on molasses, and then deactivated, harvested, washed, and dried. So what do you do with nutritional yeast? Well, I like to sprinkle it on toast, on my pasta dishes, kale chips and popcorn, and I make a creamy cheese sauce with it for my vegetables. You can purchase nutritional yeast at your local Whole Foods, Sprouts, Central Markets, and natural grocers. You can find it in the bulk section, which is a more cost-effective way to purchase rather than on the shelf. Just keep it in an airtight container. So enjoy and explore this nutty, cheesy bunch of flakes, nutritional yeast.
Welcome back, Define Nation. And we are talking with Dr. Micheal Sims, who's a national board certified examiner. And, one of the big things, Michael, that we talk about is addressing overall wellness and really addressing the actual problem and not band-aiding. And that's something that you're extremely passionate about too. I think that's why, besides the Steelers, why we get along so well. But can you go into kind of what you've seen and really, helping people through, don't just put a Band-Aid on it, actually fix what's going on so that you have long-term health, true health, that you live, you don't just exist. I think some people believe that living with pain is just something that they have to do, and they don't. And just living their life to the fullest. So can you give me your thoughts, your opinion on that?
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that is probably one of the things that I'm most passionate about as far as health, and I feel free saying the healthcare crisis that we have in our country right now, and probably around the world, is the fact that we focus and spend so much time looking at the symptoms and trying to cover up the symptoms, because that's what interferes with our lives. A headache interferes with my life. It doesn't matter what's causing the headache as long as the pain goes away, or low back pain, or high blood pressure, or cholesterol, or whatever. The list can go on of the different symptoms that we try to cover up. But we need to make sure that while we're covering up the symptoms, we focus on trying to solve whatever the problem happens to be. And nowadays, that's unfortunately not what we're doing. It's not what medication was even intended to do. Medication is intended to help you deal with the symptoms and help your body deal with whatever the symptom is while you go and find a solution to the problem.
Yes.
A great example that I always like to give as far as symptoms versus problem is carpal tunnel, because I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to and they can understand.
Absolutely.
And for anyone that doesn't know what carpal tunnel is, it's numbness and tingling that's felt in the hand, primarily the last, the pinky and the ring finger, down the side of the hand, or maybe even through the palm. You feel it from the wrist towards the fingers, and you don't really feel it much from your wrist up. And so a lot of times you'll go somewhere and they might give you a brace for the wrist, or they might give you medication, recommend a massage. Eventually they actually have surgery that they'll do to cut and widen the carpal tunnel, which is a very narrow tunnel that goes through your wrist. It's comprised of the bones and a ligament that goes across.
Okay.
Now, the actual cause of carpal tunnel is irritation to the nerve that starts in the cervical spine. So the lower cervical spine has an irritation on the nerve, causing essentially damage, or it's pinching off the nerve there. And as anyone knows, whenever something is damaged or injured in the body, there's going to be inflammation, because that's the body trying to heal. So when the nerve becomes inflamed, it's inflamed all the way down the arm, and then when it hits that very narrow passage called the carpal tunnel in your hand, it's so narrow that an inflamed nerve, you're feeling, because the nerve is inflamed, you'll feel the symptoms past that very narrow passage point. Think of it as a bottleneck in the hose. It's not getting everything through. So what needs to be done is the pressure needs to be taken off of the nerve at the source, at where the problem is being caused, not where you're feeling the symptoms. So I've helped any number of people deal with carpal tunnel by simply taking the pressure off of the nerves in the neck, allowing the body to heal itself without ever touching the wrist or the hand, and the carpal tunnel has healed itself, because the body has the power to heal itself. Without
medication, without surgery, and without not only the inconvenience, but the pain and discomfort and the cost that goes along with it. I mean, holistic care is more effective, it's cheaper, and there's no pain. It's comfortable, So anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. And the one thing to always keep in mind is you need to be patient. It's consistency over time that will help you solve problems. If you're looking for a quick fix, this is not the thing for you. You need to have patience in order to allow your body to heal itself, because anything that happens quickly in the body like that, you're probably going to have some kind of negative side effect to it.
Well, and I remember hearing you speak a couple weeks ago, I guess it was now, and you were talking about symptoms, and one of the things that you had talked about is when you get sick and you get a fever, and you were making that correlation, and that made so much sense to me. Would you mind giving that example to our listeners, because I think that's also a very valid visualization for them, especially because we're in flu season. A lot of people have gotten sick across the country, and and the first thing we do is we run for the Band-Aid. Would you mind going through that briefly?
Oh, no, absolutely. So, fever is one of the most misunderstood things that happen in the body, because someone gets a fever and then it's like, oh, we need to take medication and bring down this fever because the fever is obviously a bad thing. Well, no, actually the fever is a really good thing. It's the body that is raising the temperature. Your body's intentionally raising the temperature to kill off whatever virus or bacteria happens to be infecting your body. Viruses and bacteria live in a very narrow temperature range. Mm-hmm. So when you raise that temperature, it makes it uncomfortable and sometimes even unlivable for whatever the bacteria and virus is that is infecting your body. So a fever is your body's way to try and heal itself. Now, whenever you take something to try and bring down that fever because it's uncomfortable for you, you're simply turning off the body's natural defense, and you're allowing that virus or bacteria or whatever it happens to be to live longer inside of your body and thus cause more problems, whatever it happens to be.
Defeating your purpose. You're going to stay sick longer.
It's going to cause you to be sick longer, and it's not going to allow your body to take care of and deal with whatever problem it is, so that when your body's confronted with this problem again in the future, you're going to go through the same trials and struggle again.
Well, and here's something that I'd like to bring up for just a few minutes, and that is, I think, stereotypes. And I think there are stereotypes around chiropractic care and or doing things holistically. And I don't know if that's due to advertising or big pharma and budgets and all that kind of stuff. But, there used to be a stereotype, and you can tell me if this is something that you still deal with on a regular basis, that, chiropractic is unsafe, aligning the spine is unsafe, children can't do it, pregnant women cannot do it, elderly can't do it. Like there's this one little hollowed glass of people that could possibly benefit, and I just think it's ludicrous myself. I mean, I believe in chiropractic care. I think it's an amazing tool. And I think it's something that people should utilize on a regular basis for their health, not as oh my God, I'm in pain, now I need to do something. No, as an ongoing wellness tool. So are you still facing those type of stereotypes? And if so, how do you deal with that? And what's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm not confronted with them nearly as much as I was in the past, and say when I first started my career. Nowadays people are becoming more and more accepting of different ways to solve problems. And I think they're starting to realize that what they've been doing has not been working. To date, me personally, my youngest patient has been 5 days old.
Wow.
It was a 5-day-old infant, and it wasn't necessarily there was something wrong, but that's what we're doing to make sure that something didn't go wrong.
Well, and the birthing process is pretty hard on the actual child itself. I mean, we all can identify with the mother being, it's very difficult on her. But the child itself, that's a pretty traumatic experience for the child to come through.
Well, absolutely. And you look at how traumatic it is for the mother. The mother's lived her life and been through many things to make her stronger. This is a fragile infant that's coming out of the mother, and it's equally, if not more, traumatic for the baby. And so it's extremely important at the beginning of a child's life to make sure that everything is functioning the way it's supposed to. The nervous system doesn't have interference in it, so it can grow big and strong the way it's supposed to. It's kind of like we were talking about in the beginning. We want to make sure that when we're talking about organs, the architect is the brain, and we want to build strong, healthy cells. And if you're born with interference in your nervous system, how do you have any chance of being healthy if you're starting out building sick cells to begin with? And so, chiropractic can help all ages, all walks of life, as long as it's somebody that is confident in what they're doing, is well trained, and knows what they're doing. And the biggest advice I give to people is find someone you're comfortable with. It's like any other profession. If you are not comfortable with whoever it is, try another one. It doesn't mean the whole profession is bad. It just means, maybe you need to find a different one.
And Define Nation, I encourage you, if you have any additional questions for Dr. Sims, or if you're interested in the topics that we talked about, reach out to him. Your website, Dr. Sims, is drsimsoffice.com. I love that website. It's so nice and easy. And you're over in East Dallas. And I would encourage people to reach out to you. And I thank you so much for coming on and talking with us today. And it's such a broad topic that we could spend hours, but I think we did a pretty good job condensing it today.
Yeah, it is one of those things that we can go on forever, but I thank you, Danielle, for your work and the things that you're doing and allowing me time to speak to your audience about things that are important with me, so I appreciate it.
Important for all of us and the well-being, and especially speaking of children, our future.
Absolutely.
And Define Nation, it is that time. I am going to give you guys an update on Cracker. You may remember that Cracker is my little terrier dog who is in renal failure. And we had a guest on several weeks ago, Dr. Chris from Animal House Chiropractic. And I decided instead of doing traditional treatments for my animal, I wanted to do the holistic route. And so Dr. Chris has been amazing. She's been coming over, giving Cracker weekly treatments for the past several weeks. He's also been on a natural supplement to help the inflammation and just help his overall body and the alkalization of his body. And I have to tell you, he is doing absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I am just, when you have a puppy or a dog, I call him my puppy still, but when you have a dog that all of a sudden is part of your life and you have this very realization that, oh my goodness, they might be taken from me, you do everything you can. And to see our dog go from just on the couch, not wanting to move, to being this spry little puppy again, it's absolutely amazing. And so we're going to put videos up on the Facebook page and also some pictures. You can see some of the treatments that Dr. Chris has been doing, both on the Animal House Facebook page and the Define Facebook page. Define Nation, remember, we are going to pull a trivia question out of our interview with Dr. Micheal Sims, and we are going to be giving away one of our $500 prize packs, which includes a gift certificate from Dr. Sims, so you can actually go meet him, ask your questions in person, get an examination, find out what's going on with your health, and have him give you a personal adjustment. And remember, Define Nation, we are going to pull the trivia question from our interview with Dr. Micheal Sims for that $500 prize pack. Not only are our great friends from Nordic Naturals, Soyjoy, and Zevia involved in the action, as they are every week, but Dr. Sims is also giving a gift certificate to his office. You can go get an examination, meet him in person, ask your own questions, have a real discussion about your health, about what's really going on, and about living and not just existing. We thank you as always for tuning in to Define Nation, and remember, motivated, dedicated, and highly recommended. Bye-bye.